Hi everyone, I am Teacher Ray from Home Educator Specialist. In this video, I'll be going through some notable past year's PSLE science questions with you. As we go through the questions, I'll also touch on some of the theories from the topic so that we could also do our revision at the same time. So let us begin. Transport system of plants is also under the category of circulatory system of humans. So they are in the same topic or chapter. Laura cut the lower stem of a white flower into two equal parts. She placed them into containers with different colored water as shown. After a short time, she observed that some parts of the flower turn red, some turn yellow, while the rest remain white. So she made 4 statements. The first one is that the food made by the plant was red and yellow in color. B, the stem transported the different colored water to the flower. C, no colored water was transported to the flower parts that remain white. D, there were no water tubes in the flower parts that remained white. So they're asking which statements can be concluded from observations. Basically, which statements is the right statement. Let's take a look at the first one. The food made by the plant was red and yellow in color. Do we see any leaves in this plant setup? All we see is the stem which has been cut into half and cut into half in this part and a white flower. There's no leaves. So is there food being made by the plant? Is there any photosynthesis going on? No. The first one is wrong. Statement B. The stem transported the different colored water to the flower. Yes. Let's take a look at what are the part of the plant that is involved in transporting water. It is called the water carrying tubes, or also known as xylem. What is the function of the water carrying tubes? It is to transport water absorbed by the roots to the other parts of the plant. And the water and mineral salts are transported from the roots upwards to the plant. Statement B is correct. Now let's take a look at statement C. No colored water was transported to the flower parts that remain white. Okay, so it says here, let me just highlight. It says that some parts of the flower turn red, some turn yellow, while the rest remain white. Okay, so that means that no colored water was transported to the flower parts that remain white. So that is right. Let's take a look at statement D. There were no water tubes in the flower parts that remain white. This is inconclusive. We can't say that there's no water tubes in the flower parts that remain white. All right, we cannot conclude this because firstly, her observation was done after she left the flower for a short time. So maybe that the water carrying tubes did not manage to transport the colored water to the rest, to all of the flower. But maybe after a longer period of time, then all parts of the flower will be covered by the either red or yellow. Either that or that some of the water carrying tubes might have been damaged when the stem was cut, because the stem was cut into 2. So maybe some of the water carrying tubes is damaged, but we do not know that. We cannot conclude just from this experiment alone. So this D is inconclusive, A is wrong. So the only 2 statements that is right is B and C. So the answer is number 2. So let's take a look at the other tube that we learned in the transport system of plants. It is called the food carrying tubes or phloem. So what's the function of the food carrying tubes? Is to transport food made in the leaves to the other parts of the plant. The difference between the water carrying tubes and the food carrying tubes is that the food may move up and down through the tubes in the stem, up or down. But for the xylem water carrying tubes, the water and mineral salts are transported up. For food, it may move up or down, but for water and mineral salts, only upwards. So that is the difference between these 2 tubes. All right, this will be on the circulatory system in humans. The diagram below shows the direction of blood flow in some parts of the human body. So this diagram is very popular. They either like to put this diagram in an MCQ question or in a section B question. Sometimes they will label all of the different parts of the circulatory system, but sometimes it's like this. They don't label all of it, and then they will put arrows for the direction of blood flow and labeling them with letters. In this case, we have E, F, G, and H. The first question is to identify organ S. So this is quite straightforward. Organ S is the heart. Part B. Other than the direction of blood flow, state one difference between the blood in F, in E, and the blood in F. Other than direction of the blood flow, what is the direction of the blood flow? One is for F, the blood is from the lungs to the heart. For E, the blood is from the heart to the lungs. So it's very important for us to recognize what organ this is first before we could answer the rest of the questions. Okay, the blood from the lungs to the heart carries oxygen. All right, so it is also known as oxygenated blood. the blood from the heart to the lungs carries blood that is rich in carbon dioxide. It is also known as deoxygenated blood. So how to answer this question? Okay, the blood in F is filled with oxygen, whereas the blood in E is filled with carbon dioxide. Next, substance in the blood where its amount is higher in G than in H. They're asking for one substance where it's higher in G than in H. Okay, so let's take a look at the blood flow. H is blood flowing from the heart to the other parts of the body, whereas G is blood flowing from the other parts of the body, to the heart, back to the heart. G is deoxygenated blood, whereas H is oxygenated blood. So H is blood filled with oxygen, okay, higher content in oxygen, and G is blood filled with a high amount of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is higher in G than in H. So the blood flow in the circulatory system is basically blood rich in oxygen leaves the lungs, okay, goes to the heart. All right, then the heart pumps blood that is rich in oxygen to the other parts of the body. Then the other parts of the body, once it receives the oxygenated blood or the blood that is rich in oxygen, they will take in the oxygen, and then the blood will exchange carbon dioxide. Now the blood has a higher content of carbon dioxide. It is known as deoxygenated blood. So this deoxygenated blood from the other parts of the body leaves the other parts of the body, goes back to the heart. Then this heart will pump the deoxygenated blood, the blood that has a higher content in carbon dioxide. It will pump it back to the lungs. Okay, why does it pump it back to the lungs? So that it can be removed from the body. So now once it goes to the lungs, then it will be respiratory system that will be involved in removing the carbon dioxide from the body when we exhale. Okay, so then the process repeats because the same blood that goes to the lungs, it exchange. Okay, so it gives the carbon dioxide to the lungs, and then it collects. Okay, a gaseous exchange occurs. It gets oxygen from the lungs, and then after that, this blood that is now rich in oxygen will go back to the heart to be pumped to the other parts of the body. So what are the different parts in the human circulatory system? Okay, there's three major parts, which is the heart. What's the function of the heart? It is to pump blood to all parts of the body. Secondly, it has the red blood cells. Red blood cells in the blood. The second major part is the blood. So the blood, the function is to transport digested food, water, and waste substances to the rest of the body. As we can see here, I put a picture of red blood cells. All right, so red blood cells, there's no nucleus. There's no nucleus. Red blood cell does not have nucleus. Why is it so? It has been adapted in such a way that it has no nucleus. It's to allow it to contain more hemoglobin and carry more oxygen molecules. Now, you're asking, or you might be curious, what is hemoglobin? As you can see here, the cytoplasm contains hemoglobin. Basically, hemoglobin is the protein molecule that binds with the oxygen. It enables the red blood cells to carry oxygen by binding it, carry the oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. But it's not in the syllabus, but it's just an interesting piece of information. Lastly is the blood vessels. It allows blood to flow through them. So there's three types of blood vessels. There's the artery, the capillaries, and the vein. The arteries is where the blood comes from the heart to the rest of the body. And the vein is blood that comes from the rest of the body back to the heart. And capillaries is the smallest blood vessel, which allows for the exchange of materials between the blood and the other tissue cells.
We have come to the end of the video. Thank you for joining us today. Do subscribe to our channel and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!